Many people ask the same question. How can I have a happy life? They ask it quietly, sometimes without words. They feel that something is missing, even when life looks fine from the outside. This question is not strange. But very often, the way we think about happiness makes life harder instead of easier. People often imagine happiness as something big. They think it will come one day, after something changes. After more success. After more money. After fewer problems. After they become a better version of themselves. So happiness is always somewhere in the future. But life happens now. And when happiness is always later, the present moment feels empty. A happy life is not a perfect life. It is not a life without stress, sadness, or mistakes. Every real life has difficult moments. Happy people are not free from them. The difference is simple. Happy people do not fight reality all the time. They allow life to be human. Many people think they are unhappy, but they are not. Most of them are simply tired. Not only physically. Mentally. Their minds are full. Full of thoughts, expectations, worries, comparisons, and pressure. When the mind is tired, it cannot feel calm. And without calm, happiness feels far away. Modern life teaches us to rush. To be productive. To improve. To always move forward. But the human mind does not work well under constant pressure. A happier life often begins when we slow down a little. Not by changing everything, but by changing how we move through the day. Happiness grows in small, quiet moments. It grows when nothing special is happening. When there is no audience. When there is no goal. A calm breakfast. A short walk. A moment of silence in the evening. These moments are easy to miss, because they do not look impressive. But they build stability inside. Many people believe they must fix their whole life to be happy. This belief creates stress. If happiness needs a complete transformation, it feels impossible. But happiness does not need a new life. It needs a gentler relationship with the life you already have. Small changes matter more than big plans. Another common mistake is believing that happiness means feeling good all the time. This idea is unrealistic. Real happiness includes bad days. It includes low energy. It includes moments of doubt. A happy life is not a constant smile. It is the ability to move through different emotions without losing yourself. When people allow themselves to feel what they feel, life becomes lighter. They stop asking, "What is wrong with me?" They start asking, "What do I need right now?" This small change is powerful. It turns life into something you live, not something you fight. A happy life is quieter than many people expect. It does not shout. It does not promise perfection. It feels like relief. Like not pushing yourself so hard all the time. Like being able to breathe inside your own life. This text is not about finding a perfect formula. There is no formula. Happiness is not something you download or achieve. It is something you practice, slowly, imperfectly, and honestly. And that is enough to begin. Many people speak to themselves in a way they would never use with others. They are strict, critical, unforgiving. Inside their own mind, they say things like, "I should be better. I am not doing enough. I am behind." Over time, this voice becomes normal. So normal that people stop noticing how heavy it is. People are often hard on themselves because they learn to be. From a young age, many of us hear messages about improvement. Do more. Try harder. Be better. These messages are not always bad. But when they never stop, they slowly turn into pressure. The idea appears that love, respect, and value must be earned. Perfection becomes a quiet goal. Even when people say they do not want to be perfect, they still feel disappointed when they make mistakes. They forgive others easily. But with themselves, they are strict. They expect constant progress. And when life slows down, they feel frustrated. Being hard on yourself often feels responsible. People think self-criticism will help them grow. They believe that if they are strict enough, they will improve faster. But in reality, constant pressure does not create growth. It creates tension. And tension makes everything harder. Many people confuse discipline with punishment. They think caring about life means pushing themselves without rest. They believe kindness toward themselves is weakness. But kindness is not stopping effort. It is changing the tone. You can want to grow without hurting yourself in the process. Another reason people are hard on themselves is comparison. Even without looking at others directly, comparison lives inside the mind. People imagine where they should be in life. They compare their reality to an idea. This idea is often unreal. A life in control. A life without doubts. A life without struggle. No one lives that life. Being hard on yourself also comes from fear. Fear of failing. Fear of wasting time. Fear of being judged. So the mind tries to protect you by controlling you. If I am strict enough, I will not fail. But this protection is heavy. It does more harm than good. Over time, self-criticism becomes a habit. People no longer ask, "Is this voice helpful?" They simply believe it. They forget that thoughts are not facts. They forget they have another choice. A softer voice is possible. Being gentler with yourself does not mean giving up. It means understanding that life is not a straight line. Some days you move forward. Some days you stand still. Some days you feel lost. All of these days are part of being alive. When people stop attacking themselves, something changes. Energy returns. Clarity improves. Peace becomes possible. Growth becomes more natural, not forced. A happy life does not need constant self-pressure. It needs support from the inside. When your inner voice becomes calmer, life feels safer. And when life feels safe, happiness has room to grow. Expectations and happiness. Expectations are a quiet part of life, but they have strong power. Most of the time, people do not notice them. They simply live with a picture in their mind of how life should be. This picture slowly shapes their feelings. Many people expect life to feel a certain way. They expect motivation in the morning. They expect clarity about the future. They expect progress to be visible and fast. When life does not match this picture, disappointment appears. Not because life is bad, but because life is different from the expectation. Expectations are often learned, not chosen. They come from family, society, school, and culture. They come from stories we hear and images we see. Over time, these expectations become silent rules. Rules like, I should enjoy my job. I should feel happy most of the time. I should know what I want. When reality breaks these rules, people feel something is wrong with them. But expectations are not reality. Reality is slower, messier, less clear. Real life moves in waves. Some days feel light. Some days feel heavy. When expectations are too high, reality always loses. Many people say, I will be happy when I fix this problem. When I reach this goal. When I become someone else. This way of thinking postpones happiness. It teaches the mind to wait instead of live. Life becomes a preparation for a future moment that never fully arrives. Happiness does not appear after everything is solved. It appears in moments where acceptance exists. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means stopping the fight against reality. When people stop arguing with what is, they often feel calmer. And calm is close to happiness. Lowering expectations does not make life smaller. It makes it lighter. When you expect less from each day, you notice more of what is already there. A normal day becomes enough. A quiet moment becomes valuable. This is not loss. It is clarity. Many people confuse high expectations with ambition. They think that without pressure, they will stop growing. But growth does not need constant dissatisfaction. You can want more and still appreciate what exists now. These two things can live together. Expectations also affect self-acceptance. When people expect themselves to always be strong, confident, and successful, They feel disappointed when they are tired or unsure. But tiredness is human. Uncertainty is part of life. A happy life allows space for weakness. When expectations soften, something interesting happens. Life feels less like a test, less like a performance. Moments are allowed to be simple. And simplicity is often where peace begins. This does not mean life becomes perfect. Problems continue. Challenges return. But the emotional weight changes. People stop asking, "Why is my life not different?" They start asking, "How can I live this moment well?" That question is kinder. Happiness grows when expectations turn into understanding. When life is allowed to be real, incomplete, human. And from that place, quiet satisfaction slowly appears. Relationships and connection. Human beings are not made to live alone. Even people who enjoy being independent need connection. Not constant attention, not large groups, not perfect relationships. Just real contact with others. A happy life is deeply connected to how safe and understood we feel with people around us. Many people think relationships must be exciting to be good. They imagine deep conversations all the time. Constant support. Perfect understanding. But real connection is much simpler. It is often quiet. It exists in everyday moments. In shared silence. In small acts of attention. One reason people feel unhappy is loneliness. Not always physical loneliness. Sometimes people are surrounded by others but feel unseen. They talk, but they are not heard. They spend time together, but they do not feel connected. This kind of loneliness is heavy. Connection does not mean being interesting or impressive. It does not require perfect words. Most of the time, connection starts when someone feels safe to be real. To be honest about how they feel. To be calm. To not pretend. When people stop performing, relationships become lighter. Many people are afraid of being a burden. They hide their worries. They avoid talking about struggles. They think they must be strong all the time. But real connection grows in honesty, not strength. When one person shares something real, it often gives others permission to do the same. Relationships do not need to be perfect to be meaningful. Every connection includes misunderstandings, different moods, different expectations. A happy life does not depend on perfect harmony. It depends on acceptance. How growth and learning connect to happiness. Many people think happiness means staying comfortable. They believe a happy life is a life without effort, confusion, or change. But what often happens is the opposite. When nothing grows, life feels empty. Growth does not always look exciting. Very often, it feels slow. Sometimes uncomfortable. Sometimes confusing. Learning something new can make people feel small. They notice what they don't know yet. They make mistakes. They feel unsure. This can feel unpleasant. But inside this discomfort, something important is happening. Growth gives life direction. Even when progress is small, it creates movement. And movement gives meaning. When people learn or improve, even a little, they feel connected to life again. They feel involved, not stuck. This feeling is close to happiness. Learning does not have to be big or dramatic. It can be very simple. Understanding yourself better. Learning how you react to stress. Learning how to rest. Learning how to communicate more honestly. This kind of learning changes daily life gently. Many unhappy people feel that their life is repeating. The days look the same. The thoughts are the same. The problems return again and again. Growth breaks this feeling. It shows that change is possible, even if it is slow. That hope matters. Growth is not about becoming someone else. This is important. Many people think learning means fixing themselves. But healthy growth is not self-rejection. It is self-curiosity. It says, "Let me understand myself better." Not, "I am not good enough." That difference changes everything. Learning also protects us from stagnation. Without growth, People often turn their energy inward in painful ways. They analyze themselves too much. They judge themselves. They feel bored or frustrated. When learning becomes part of life, energy moves outward again. Life feels wider. Growth and happiness work best together when there is patience. If people demand fast results, learning becomes pressure. And pressure kills joy. But when learning is slow and kind, it becomes satisfying. Progress feels real, not forced. There is also joy in mastery. When something that was once hard becomes easier, confidence grows quietly. Not loud confidence. Calm confidence. The kind that says, I can handle things. This feeling supports long-term happiness. Growth also helps people accept change. Life never stays still. People change. Situations change. When learning is part of life, change feels less scary. The mind becomes more flexible. And flexibility is closely connected to peace. A happy life does not mean always improving. Rest is necessary too. But knowing that you can learn, adapt, and grow creates inner safety. It reminds you that even when life is difficult, you are not powerless. In the end, growth and happiness are not opposites. They support each other. Growth gives life meaning. Happiness gives growth warmth. Together, they create a life that feels alive, not perfect. The importance of having a hobby and doing something you like. Many people live very busy lives. They work. They take care of responsibilities. They solve problems. At the end of the day, they feel tired, but not satisfied. Something feels missing. Very often, that missing part is simple. Doing something just because you enjoy it. A hobby is not about productivity. It is not about money. It is not about results. A hobby is something you do because it feels good while you are doing it. This is important. In a world where almost everything has a purpose or a goal, a hobby reminds you that joy does not always need a reason. When people do not have activities they enjoy, life becomes narrow. Days start to look the same. Time moves, but nothing feels special. Even good things begin to feel like obligations. A hobby brings color back into life. Not loud color. Soft color. The kind that makes life feel more alive. Doing something you like regularly creates balance. It gives your mind a different rhythm. For a moment you stop thinking about what you should do next, what you didn't do well, or what others expect from you. You are simply present. This presence is calming. Hobbies also help the mind rest. Not all rest comes from sleep. Sometimes the mind needs to focus on something gentle and meaningful. When you draw, read, walk, cook, write, play music, or work with your hands, the mind slows down. Thoughts become quieter. Stress loosens its grip. Many people think they deserve free time. They feel guilty when they enjoy something without purpose. But joy does not need permission. A life with no space for enjoyment becomes heavy. Regular moments of pleasure are not a luxury. They are emotional maintenance. Hobbies also connect us to ourselves. They help us remember who we are outside of roles. Not just a worker. Not just a parent. Not just a student. But a person with interests, curiosity, and preferences. This personal connection increases self-respect. Doing something you like regularly also creates stability. When life feels uncertain, hobbies become anchors. They stay familiar, even when everything else changes. This familiarity gives comfort. You know there is something waiting for you that feels safe. Hobbies do not need to be impressive. They do not need to be shared online. They do not need to lead to improvement. They only need to feel right for you. A happy life does not need more pressure. It needs more permission to enjoy. When people allow themselves this permission, they often feel lighter. Life becomes less about surviving the week and more about experiencing it. Small moments of joy begin to matter again. In the end, a hobby is not just an activity. It is a quiet way of saying, my life is more than responsibilities. And that message supports happiness in a deep, lasting way. After talking about happiness, expectations, relationships, growth, and simple joy, one thing becomes clear. A happy life is not something you win. It is something you slowly learn how to live. It does not arrive all at once. It grows quietly, often without you noticing. Many people search for happiness as if it is outside of them. They look for the right moment, the right achievement, the right version of themselves. But happiness does not wait for perfection. It often appears when you stop pushing so hard. A happy life allows space for mistakes. It allows days when you feel tired, unsure, or unmotivated. It does not demand constant energy or positivity. It simply asks for honesty. Honesty about what you feel, about what you need, about who you are right now. Happiness is often found in ordinary moments. In rest. In connection. In learning something slowly. In doing something you enjoy for no reason. These moments do not change your life suddenly. But they change how life feels. There will still be difficult days. Life will still be unpredictable. But when you stop treating happiness as a goal, and start treating it as a relationship with life, something softens inside you. You stop chasing. You start living. A happy life is not loud. It does not announce itself. It feels like peace after tension. Like a deep breath. Like knowing that you don't need to fix everything today. You are allowed to grow slowly. You are allowed to enjoy small things. You are allowed to be human. That permission is where happiness often begins. And that is enough.